Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purpose Partner Path podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Gladney, also known as the Purpose Partner. And as always, I am honored that you've chosen to spend just a few moments with me today. This podcast exists for women, and actually for anyone, for that matter, who finds themselves at crossroads but are ready to rediscover who they are, to become unshakable, and to live their lives with strategic grace. My thoughts today come directly from my third pillar called strategic grace, and I'm calling it You Can Be Tender Without Surrender. Well, you know what we do each week, so let's go grab our cup of tea so we can get started.
Exhale, let go, and enjoy the Purpose Partner Podcast. Wendy Gladney.
Whew, I just love a good cup of tea. Now, I want to sit with those words for just a moment, and I want you to sit with me. You can be tender without surrender. So today, I'd like to share with you how this is possible. You can be kind without being weak, and you can be compassionate without compromising your convictions. And I believe you can be feminine without having to apologize for it. And you can be a strong leader without becoming hard. Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, many of us women were taught the exact opposite. We were told that if we wanted to succeed, we needed to toughen up. If we wanted to be respected, we needed to be louder. If we wanted to lead, we needed to be more aggressive. And if we wanted to survive, we needed thicker skin and hard hearts. But what if strength doesn't require hardness? What if one of the greatest forms of strength is maintaining your tenderness, especially in a world that is trying to take it from you? That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's take a look at the lie that many women have been sold over the years. I think many of us have experienced moments where life hurts us. Perhaps someone betrayed you. Maybe you were overlooked for an opportunity that you knew you were the right person for. And maybe your kindness was mistaken for weakness. And maybe your generosity was taken advantage of. Maybe someone dismissed your voice or ignored your contribution. And when those things happen repeatedly over and over again, it can be tempting to build an emotional armor all around yourself, just hardening you. We tell ourselves, I'll never let that happen to me again. And while boundaries are healthy, hardness can become a prison. Remember that. Many women don't realize they've become emotionally exhausted just trying to prove that they're strong. They're carrying the weight of being everything for everyone else, and they're constantly on guard. They're always defending themselves, and they're afraid that if they show compassion or vulnerability, someone will see through it and see weakness. But this is what I've learned. Being hard and being strong, they're not the same thing. And in fact, some of the strongest women I know are incredibly tender. They love deeply. They care deeply. They serve others. And they lead with empathy. And yet, they are very unwavering when it comes to their values. So let me ask you, have you confused protection with strength? Have you built walls where healthy boundaries would have been enough? Just think about that for a moment. Now, I would like for you to consider something. Tenderness is not weakness. One of the biggest misconceptions in our culture is that tenderness equals fragility. Nothing could be further from the truth. Tenderness is actually a form of courage because tenderness requires you to remain open. And sometimes that can be hard. You have to continue to believe in people, and tenderness requires you to continue leading with compassion, even after you've been disappointed. It takes courage to keep your heart soft. Anyone can become cynical, remember that, and anyone can become bitter and angry. But remaining tender after all the tests that life throws your way, now that's what I call strength. A tender woman can still say no. A tender woman can still enforce her boundaries. She can also still walk away from unhealthy situations and advocate for herself. A tender woman can still disagree with you, and she simply does it by not abandoning who she really is deep down inside, because she understands that power is not found in being loud. It's always about just being calm and consistent and steady with who you are. Her power is found in how grounded she remains. So now let's take a look at strategic grace and what does that look like? One of the defining principles of strategic grace is this: you do not have to sacrifice your peace to prove your point. So let me say that again. You do not have to sacrifice your peace to prove your point. Strategic grace is not passive, and it definitely is not weakness, or being silent, or avoiding situations. Strategic grace is intentional strength. It is courage that is wrapped in wisdom. It is confidence wrapped in humility. You're not cocky, you're humble, but you're still confident because you know what you believe in. It is knowing who you are and refusing to allow circumstances or opinions of others to define who you are. When you operate in strategic grace, you understand something very important: that not every disagreement requires a battle. Remember, are we trying to win the war or the battle? So every disagreement, you don't have to just fly off the handle and carry on. I've had to learn that. And not every criticism requires a response. I've had to learn that too. Sometimes just be quiet. Not every misunderstanding even requires an explanation. Sometimes your peace is worth more than being right. Did you get that? Sometimes your peace is worth more than being right. And sometimes your silence speaks louder than any argument you could ever have. So I would like for you to think about something for a moment. Think about, where in your life are you spending energy trying to convince people who have already decided that they don't even understand you, they're not taking your side, they don't get it. And that question alone, I've learned, could change your life. Because what we have to come to understand is, don't worry about people who don't worry about you. Now, I'm not talking about not caring about people. I'm talking about people who are always trying to agitate you, always trying to find the negative, not trying to help you be a better person and you help them be a better person. I'm talking about people who could just don't even want to give you the time of day. Don't worry about them. Just go on with your life. How do we stand firm without being rigid in these kind of situations? One of the things I love most about mature women is that they have the ability to stand firm without being rigid. And you know what? There is a difference. Rigid people often operate out of fear, whereas firm people operate out of conviction. Rigid people refuse to listen, whereas firm people, they remain grounded and they're willing to hear you out. Rigid people demand control, whereas firm people trust themselves, so they can be comfortable in hearing you and listening to what you have to say. And you know what? You don't need everyone's approval, and you do not need permission to live according to your values. You're allowed to have your own thoughts, your own decisions. And if you lead differently, that's okay too. Because you know what? You are allowed to do all of those things. Just do them with kindness and with grace. And one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is learning how to say, you know what? I respect your opinion, but I see things differently. And you can say that without feeling guilty or apologizing or getting angry, or without surrendering your own truth. So, as we close today, I want to leave you with this thought. The goal is not to become harder. No. The goal is to become clearer. Clear about who you are. Clear about what you believe. Clear about what matters most. And when you're clear, you don't have to fight for your identity. You don't have to chase people for approval. And you don't have to surrender your values. And you certainly don't have to surrender your tenderness. Ladies, it's okay to be tender. So if you've been feeling pressure to become harder, tougher, or even more guarded just to survive, I want to encourage you today. Protect your peace. Strengthen your boundaries. Stand firm in your convictions. But don't lose your heart. Don't lose your compassion. And don't lose your tenderness. Because you can be tender without surrendering. And sometimes maintaining your softness in a hard world, such as the one we're in sometimes today, that could be the strongest thing that you can do. And you know what? You're not alone. I am here to help you on your journey. If you would like to explore how you can be tender without surrendering to others, reach out to me at wendygladney.com. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for joining me. I'm Coach Wendy, the Purpose Partner from the Purpose Partner Path podcast. And until next time, I please hope that you will protect your peace, stand in grace, become unshakable, and you know what? Follow me on all my socials because I try to drop little nuggets there from day to day and time to time. And if you go over to my website, again, wendygladney.com, you can get a copy of my latest book, The Purpose Partner Path Handbook, now available in paperback. So I hope to see you again soon. God bless you. And until next time, remember, you can do it. You have it. Stand strong, and you can be tender without surrendering.
Exhale, let go, and enjoy the purpose, partner.